Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the June 25th meeting of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council. I'm Jonathan Flora, the chair. And the first two items after calling the meeting to order is to approve, the updated, but the agenda as displayed and as emailed. I suppose we could strike updated, but I don't care to update the agenda. So looking for a motion and a second for that.
I move to approve the agenda as updated.
All right, for Don. Thank you, Don. Somebody can come off mute and second if there are no discussion
I second.
or any additions. Thank you, Mara. I'm not seeing a lot. I don't think we got any questions. So all in favor to approve the agenda, please state aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Hearing none, it appears the meeting agenda has been approved. And then the next action is to approve the meeting minutes that was sent out last Tuesday or Wednesday by Tanya in the meeting packet for the meeting for May 28th. So hopefully everybody has had time to review that and has no edits to that meeting agenda. And if so, we're looking for a motion and a second to approve those agenda meetings so we can move on.
I motion approval.
Thank you, Maura.
I'll second.
Thank you, Don. Reversal. Okay. So all in favor to accept the to accept the meetings as emailed by Tanya last week, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. That passes. All right. So we're now on to member announcements.
I have an announcement.
Okay.
So the actually almost 5 years ago, they formed a grassroots organization in Cape Valley, the Cape Valley Regeneration Group, and we ended up placing our focus on water and being paying attention to the reviews for the groundwater sustainability plan. And ultimately, we came to the conclusion that we would that what would be good for the hydrological health of the valley was a watershed, a Cache Creek watershed stewardship group. We we applied for and just received a grant from the Bureau of Reclamation for $300,000 over the next 3 years to form this group. The first steps are outreach, and the intent behind the program is to make sure that you have every view represented from the watershed and bring people together in a platform where they get used to talking to each other so they can work out any issues that come up. So we're anxious to get going on that piece of it. We really emphasized in our report that we had a situation where about 97% of the property is in private hands, so that we really need our private landowners who are the people who can affect what's happening on the ground to participate. So we're going to put a lot of energy into making sure that we can engage people. We'll be putting out some announcements about it. We won't really get going until September, October, but if anybody has any questions, they can certainly email me, and I'll put my email address in the chat.
Wow, congratulations. Well, I used to be the Cache Creek watershed coordinator, and there was the Cache Creek stakeholders group. So I have some history of that if you want to talk offline.
Sure, and we did talk a bit to, I think, to Heather and about that, because we did find the work that you've done, and it looked a lot like what we were talking about doing now. So it'd be really good to hear from you. And also, I should say that it was Kate Riza from RCD who alerted us to this grant. We will be always thankful for that.
Yay. Ian, do you have a question?
I think this is member announcements, correct?
Yes.
I just wanted to briefly mention, I know it's a little over a month away, but we have our National Night Out events that we're planning at our public
Yeah.
housing sites. One of those is El Rio Villa, just out on the county side of Winters. And so, it's an opportunity. We cook for our residents, and we have lots of providers that set up tables and distribute information and give resources to our public housing residents. So if any folks on the line are interested in setting up a table at El Rio Villa or any of our sites, we do it there, Woodland and West Sacramento. I'll drop my email in the chat, and please let me know so we can get you connected with the team and get those plans going. Thanks.
What's the date on that event?
It is Tuesday, August 5th this year. So we usually start at about 5:30. Good to see you, Carol.
Uh-huh.
All right. Any other member announcements? If not, we're to move on to regular reports, but I'll hold off a moment for someone to remove themselves from chat or mute. Okay. Tanya, time for regular reports.
All right. First on our first report is from CAL FIRE, and I saw Chief Close here. So I'm looking forward to hearing his report.
Good afternoon. Fire activity's been picking up a little bit in LNU, our neighboring units in the region. No major incidents yet, a couple extended attack fires down in Santa Clara, and we got a lot of prescribed fire still going on in the unit to date. Some quick math I just did, we burnt about 230 acres of prescribed fire in Yolo County so far this year between all the agencies. In the last couple days, we've been working on the 128 prescribed fire project with CAL FIRE, Winters, Capay Valley, Esparto, Madison, and Napa City came over to help us out too, and the Delta crews. I'll go ahead and try and share my screen, see if this works. I can show you our ops map and our progress if you'd like.
Okay, you should be able to.
Okay, this is our ops map for the 128 burn. On the top left, you see Pewter Creek Fishing Access 1. You guys see this map?
Yes.
Okay, and then bottom right is Pleasance Valley. The map's oriented north. The orange shaded areas are the areas that we're burning this year, and the pink shaded areas are exclusion zones that we can't burn. So those areas that I've circled in black are what we've completed to date this afternoon. We're going to continue working east and probably get down to about Pewter Creek Fishing Access number 5 tomorrow. The end of tomorrow's our last day of approved firing for this week, but the unit has supported attempting to get approval again next week and surging resources in. That's about all I got for the 128 project. It's going good. The fuels are very available. We started firing today with 70% RH, and there was no problem firing. So it's pretty slow going to make sure that we contain it in our plots, but it is moving along. End of report if there's no questions.
I just have to say that's very impressive, and I know there is a lot of back end effort that went into that. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Cool. Any more questions? It happened. Yay. Our next report is from Christopher Estrada at the Office of Emergency Services.
Evening, good evening, everyone. So not all news. The only big major news that we do have at our office is Kristen will be leaving us July 11th for a different position that she took out of state. So we're working through that transition phase and seeing how everything will transition over within our office. There shouldn't be a lot of changes that would impact us majorly. Continuity of operations will still most likely be smooth and ongoing as we move forward with this, but that's the big news for now. And then the report. Thank you.
All right, that
This is Elaine Roberts Musser. So who is in charge? Who do you reach out to? At the Office of Emergency
So
Services?
I will still be on, and Kurt will still be on temporary as we kind of figure out who or what the CAO was going to do in terms of like filling a position or seeing out. But uh, Kurt and I will still be there.
Okay, and are you still planning to have the Disaster Services Council in
Yes.
August?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, great.
We'll have our first meeting. I believe it's August 14th, if I'm not mistaken. But that's still good. That's still in the books and taking place.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course.
And I don't think she's on, but I mean, just huge thanks to Kristen for all that she's done and in all of her positions in Yolo County, but I mean, especially as chief of OES. I mean, she's just been fantastic to work with, and the different ways that I've worked with her, and ongoing thanks, Christopher, to you and the whole OES team for all you do. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll make sure to share that over with Kristen. Thank you.
Yeah, we have had the same experience working with
Yeah,
her.
and let me say too, it was really impressive the way she engaged all the community voices when she's putting together the plan. That was a heck of a plan. It was an amazing effort she put into it. So thank you to her for that.
Yeah, I really agree with you, Don, that Kristen's ability to bring community together has just been unparalleled with this, and just opening it up to make it so that it's so many of these different processes are really she draws on community voices, and it's terrific. I mean, it takes something that's obviously it's a stressful topic for everybody involved, but makes it so that people can feel engaged and like their voices are heard. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now it is over to RCDs, and starting off, so I sent out my coordinator report, and I also have a map because maps are awesome. So, but first the calendar, all the regular things, Solano Fire Safe Councils to be determined, but I believe they're going to be quarterly. So I'll let you know as soon as that announcement gets sent out. And then in terms of projects, I'll just start at the top of the county and work our way down. So this is kind of a deceptive little piece of the map here, but this work on the shaded fuel break along Highway 16, right at the mouth of the Rumsey Canyon. This work started on yesterday. We're just pushing back the vegetation back about 20 to 30 feet, depending on the topography, down here by where the Rafters park up to Camp Haswell. And then these red dots are the mapped locations for our small wildfire awareness signs. Just the small ones telling people to not drag their chains and throw out cigarette butts at pullouts. And Allie will talk more about the bigger signs, but that's what those little dots are. And then moving down the road, not everything is showing up on my map, so that's a little annoying. But just a reminder that we've done some field breaks along County Road 41 and 41A and the Rumsey ditch. So those are completed, at least for now. They will need to be maintained because things grow back. And Chief Capitano did a burn here, so that's the North Rumsey, because we have this big line item as Rumsey buffer. So this is part of it here. Then there was some burning here. And then as we reported last month, we had prescribed burn here. And then of course the County Road 41 work. So Rumsey does have some buffer around it now, which is exciting. So the west side is in process. More on that later. So upcoming projects, or actually no, there's so many. It's hard to keep them all track. So then there's a project that's in process, and I think I had mentioned that last month as well. I don't know where this month went so quick. But there's a big eucalyptus grove here, and the CAL FIRE Delta Camp crew did a bunch of thinning, and they'll be back next week. Weather and fire or lack of fire permitting, just to limit up, cut down some little trees. And I have a little photo essay to show you, because that's my favorite part of all this, is the actually getting things done and the before and after pictures. So that's a before, just a view looking west towards the highway, because we were able to work off the highway, which meant we didn't need traffic control or permits from Caltrans. So just cleaning up, being able to see through this stuff. The landowner is going to be doing some more work now that they can get in there. So that's a before, that's an after. This is what it looks like when you're in it, or what it looked like. Now it looks like this. And again, these smaller trees will be taken out and run through the chipper. There's the big view. And that's what it looks like now. So that's halfway done. Next week, it should be completed. And then another upcoming project is to continue the shaded fuel break on 128. On the other side of where Chief Close is doing his work, that's dependent on when those permits get approved from Caltrans. And then planning work, as you heard at the beginning of the meeting, we are having an on-the-ground meeting with an expert in cooperative grazing. And so we'll be meeting with her on Sunday afternoon at Golden Bear. And then after that, I hope to start planning with folks from the Cape Valley who might be interested in prescribed grazing. And I know there's a few folks, but we haven't started coordinating yet. So I think that's it for my report on the on-the-ground stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Allie to talk about our wildfire awareness signs, the big ones. And I'm going to show on the map where they're going to be. The Cape Valley one is going to be here next to Grumpy Goat Farms. Here's the town of Cape. And the other one will be outside of Winters. So I think I'll stop talking and turn it over to Allie, unless there's any questions. We're just literally chipping away at the vegetation. Okay.
All right.
I'll be quiet now.
For the roadside signs, the large ones, if you recall, they're 4 feet by 8 feet. And we've had them fabricated. They're ready to go in the ground. We've just been waiting on getting confirmed locations for where those will go on private property. We do have 2 locations confirmed, like Tanya said, one in the Cape Valley and one in Winters. I'm still working on permitting. We have to put together a little site map, and I need some specifics from the landowners. So we should hopefully get those in the ground pretty soon. We have a contractor in mind who will be able to install those. And yeah, I think that's all. Tanya, do you have anything to add?
No, just that, like everything, it's more complicated than you think it's going to be. When you say, oh, we'll just put in some signs. But anyway, just as a reminder, here is the Winters version. And it has the Winters logo on it, and the Cape version has the tribe and the Cape Valley Fire Department version on it. So
For the
coming
signs.
soon to a highway near you.
Right. And for the smaller signs, I think we have all the locations figured out. Those are also fabricated, and I think we still need to buy posts for those to get those in the ground, and submit some 811 tickets to get that confirmed, and maybe some landowner permissions as well. So we're hoping those will go in the ground soon too.
Thank you. We don't have any new grant updates, so Allie, why don't you keep going if you don't mind?
Yeah. So I'll do a quick prescribed burn association update. I think we talked about it last week or last month, but they, like Tanya mentioned, they burned 11 acres up in Rumsey, that added to the Rumsey buffer project. They had one day where they fell out of prescription pretty quickly, and we only got about 3 acres done. And so the following week, we were able to get out on that property and finish the rest, the eight acres. So they got 11 acres burned in total, which is what we were going for. That's what we're aiming for. So that was a success. And then as for other updates, we've been doing, the Yolo PBA has been partnering regionally with Napa PBA and Solano PBA, to help out on burns and bring out our equipment trailer. So our crew went out to a couple of different burns with Napa and Solano. And then in the fall, we're hoping to host some basic fire certification trainings. So we'll be working on planning those, and then we'll get the outreach out to anyone who's interested in getting some fire certification. We're hoping sometime in the fall. We're not exactly sure when, but yeah, I'll update when we have more information. And then I guess I can just jump into my regular outreach update, unless anyone has any questions about the PBA.
I could just add one more thing that I think is really cool is that Yolo PBA is also supporting Napa and Solano to help them put together equipment lists of stuff to get so that we can start getting more resources out in the region. And so really building off the expertise in Yolo, which is pretty exciting.
Cool. Thanks, Tracy. As for our outreach stuff, oh, sorry, Kate, do you have a question?
I do, but sorry, it's looping back to the signs real quickly. I'm really excited about these signs going up. I think it's great. The part in the red that then has the black text. I'm wondering about ability of people to read it going past, especially since almost 10% of men have red-green color blindness. About that, if that'll be legible, or if doing that text in white is
We went back and forth with the fabricator. I think
okay.
originally it was in white, and they actually recommended black because they thought it would last longer and it would be more visible from the road. So we just kind of deferred to the sign fabricators for that.
Okay.
Because yeah, it wasn't white, but they thought that probably wasn't going to be the best for being able to see it on the long term. They thought it would fade pretty quickly, and it wouldn't be legible for after sun exposure. So black is what we went with.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, so for general outreach stuff, the only thing of note is we have a chipper day planned for this Friday. The Yolo flood control crew will be out. They're going to visit some properties in Winters, the Cape Valley, and a property in Zamora. I think I mentioned this last month, but we've expanded our programming to also include the high fire areas that have been added to the local responsibility area map in west of Dunnigan and Zamora. And so we're hoping to expand our outreach. And I've developed some yard signs, and I'll get some press releases and direct mailers out to mailboxes in that area to get hopefully some more signups for reflective address signs and the shipper program. But other than that, it's kind of business as usual. We haven't been getting as many reflective address sign requests as of lately. So if you have any ideas on how to reach people or encourage them to request an address sign, let me know, because we still have plenty of funding and plenty of signs and reflective numbers. So yeah, I think that's all from me. Is there any questions?
I'm showing the screen of the small signs, and we also have this in Spanish. So there'll be a post with the English version and the Spanish version. But as you know, before you dig a hole for a post along a road, you need to have it mapped and approved by the 811 folks. And we did that also out of the Caltrans right away so that we didn't have to navigate Caltrans, but we're also going to have to get the permission from landowners. So we have 15 locations chosen. So it's a process. Okay. So if there's no more outreach or
Tanya, I think with those little signs, are those the ones that we'd talked about maybe having something available like the gas stations in winters, since so many people who are heading up to the lake and might be potentially dragging chains?
We did that last year. The Chevron took theirs down right away, but the Berryessa Sporting Goods kept theirs up. I haven't checked this year to see if they kept it up all year. We laminated them. They're bigger sizes, and I gave them laminated ones to put in their window.
Okay.
So locally owned businesses were more into it than franchise, than chains.
Interesting. Okay,
I
great.
put one up at a road trip in the Cape Valley too, and they were very happy about it. But that was a year ago, so that would be something to put on our to-do list to maybe refresh those. Okay, Karen from Solano RCD, what have you guys been up to?
Well, in the last few minutes, I grabbed a quick screenshot of that sign and just ran it through colorblindness.com to check. Based on what Kate said, and the contrast isn't that bad, I think.
Okay.
As a person with normal vision, but I can pull up the screenshot if you'd like to see it, Kate.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about Google.
If you run it through with a number of different options, it's fairly legible, I would think. This is where it gets a little bit iffy, and where white text I think would maybe be better, but I am also not someone who specializes in colorblind or accessible visuals. So there we go.
Cool, thanks.
That's what I was doing off on the side there. Updates from Solano RC. Our Nelson Road Prescribed to Burn project has wrapped up, so huge thank you to everybody who helped with that. There were so many partners on that project. Final mapping put it at 105 acres, and it was a really big collaborative effort that we are really pleased with how it went. We had engines and staff and crews out from CAL FIRE, Vacaville City Fire Department, Fairfield Fire Department, Sassoon Fire Protection District, Vacaville Fire Protection District. We had Solano Land Trust out there, City of Vacaville staff, Caltrans, a whole bunch of partners, and pretty poignant that from the very top of it, you can see 2 recent incidents that both resulted in evacuation and needed aerial support to knock down. So not quite adjacent to the county, but we're pretty pleased with how that went. We have been wrapping that up, and we're having some quiet time in the office on our end with a whole bunch of project planning and developing landowners assistance programs for biochar production using fuel reduction, wood debris and waste, some grazing support similar to what Tanya mentioned, and some funding proposals that we're putting together. So that's it for Solano at the moment.
Thank you. Congratulations on Nelson Road being completed.
That was a big project.
That was a big project.
Yeah. and very visible.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions about any of the reports or projects? Cool. So let us move on to our small but mighty community fire safe council, starting with the Cape Valley. Moira is here to give us a report.
She actually
she had to
stepped
step
out.
away. That's right. Jonathan, can you give us a report?
Well, I mean, you pretty much have highlighted we did do our defensible space works for a couple people who are physically and financially unable to take care of it, and you've highlighted the burns that they were completed with PBA and Cape Valley Fire Department. So one comment I've gotten from somebody outside of the council was that they definitely noticed that more landowners are mowing strips and being more fire aware. So that is one comment that I'm glad to hear that people are paying attention to some of the things. Not everybody, of course, but every little bit helps, and definitely seeing places where people are mowing along the roads where there's a lot of large areas of grass or putting in disc lines will help in the event fire does reach these areas. So, and certainly, along Highway 16 where that's where a risk of fire from a vehicle. And Moira's back, so she could add if anything, if I didn't do it.
I can't think of anything, Jonathan, but thanks for covering that.
Yep. Okay. On to the next one.
Thank you. I see that Sherry Gardner's here from our neighbors to the west. Can you give us an update? What's going on in Napa?
Hello,
Hey.
Napa. Hi, yeah, I'm here. I'm on the run right at the moment, but just a real quick update. We've been working on a lot of roads projects and need to get in touch with Solano County roads, I believe, Karen. So maybe I'll search you down later for that to try to meet up with some work we've been doing up to the county line. Much appreciation to all those PBA folks who came out and burned. I think you may have talked about this last month, but in the Pacific Union College Angwin Forest back in, was that May, Tracy? Already, I've lost track of time. But we were doing a post-fire field trip this Sunday out in the forest from 2 to 5. And I put the link in the chat if anyone wants to join us. Please sign up and come on out. It'll be hot, but we'll be in the forest. It'll be super interesting to see that. And also the burn we did a year ago in May. So lots going on, as always. And maybe this is sort of specific to the county coordinators, but we'll be hosting CAL FIRE to give one of the qualified entities defensible space trainings in August 13th and 14th. So we'll have signups available for that soon. And that'll probably be in Deer Park instead of downtown Napa. Once we nail down the location, we'll have that registration up. And that's all that's coming to mind right at the second.
Sherry, who will be eligible to attend that qualified entities training?
So that is for the county coordinators for each county who received the grant from CAL FIRE / California Fire Safe Council are required to take that training, or someone from their team. It is open to anyone who works in the you, Tanya, Karen, anyone. And anyone else on your team can take it as well. It's a 2-day training. There's no charge for the training, but it is from 8 to 4. So it's a good solid 2 days back to back. And it is also available to, we're going to open it up to our Fire Safe Council volunteers, people who are working in the pre-fire, preparedness world can take the training if they're with a resource conservation district or a nonprofit or a Fire Safe Council. There you go.
Okay.
There may be more categories in there too. That's
So
what
the
comes to mind.
local fire
I
state
just
persons can attend, like several of the people in this meeting?
That is my understanding. Yeah. And you can
fire state councils are listed on the form. I put the request in the chat box for requesting one of these trainings, and it includes the list of who is a qualified entity.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah. So if you'd like to join ours, we definitely will have space. We can accommodate up to 40 people per training. So there you have it.
Thank you so much for hosting that.
Happy to.
Cool. That's it for Sherry. She's on mute. Thank you for joining us.
My dog just jumped on the car. So
oh,
okay.
Yeah,
thank you. I love joining these meetings. I'm sorry I can't always join. I've got another meeting that we host at 5 o'clock. So
all right.
switch
Well, we're
gears.
happy
But
to
I always
have you.
I love to hear what you guys are all up to, and I'm going to steal some of your sign ideas too.
All right.
Thank you.
Pleasance Valley. Leanne here.
I'm trying. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes.
Okay. Well, Pleasance Valley has been busy trying to complete our grant from the California Fire Foundation. We did 9 homes. We utilized a company called Corazon del Campo, and it's actually a farm labor group. However, they've designed their program for us to become fuel reduction specialists, 0 to 5, 5 to 30, and then 30 to 100 feet. And so one of the homes in particular, we took out 5.5 tons of debris.
Oh my gosh.
Which is amazing. That was 6 loads to the dump in an 18 by 8 by 14 foot dump trailer. That's a tremendous amount. And then the other homes, we basically piled up safely on the property, which those homes had plenty of space, and it was all cleared all around the piles. This company, Corazon del Campo, was great to work with. They're very safe. They're skilled. They're licensed and insured. They were all fully equipped and had basically everything. And I highly recommend them. And then the other thing that's been happening in Pleasance Valley, our Public Works has been diligent about continuing to remove a lot of trees that have become a hazard along the road and have the potential of falling on the road. And so I have to give a shout out to Drew Ledford at Solano County Public Works. And then the other thing that's also happening is the Solano County Board of Supervisors has taken over the 3 remaining fire districts in Solano County. Vacaville Fire Protection District, which is the largest and serves the most people, the Montezuma Fire Protection District, and the Sassoon Fire Protection District. And as of yesterday, they have delegated the county administrator to choose an interim overall chief for the 3 districts, which I don't think is quite legal.
And what's their rationale for that?
Yeah, what is their rationale for that? That is the question. They think, the outlying areas can be better served, which all 3 areas, so Solano County is a large county like Yolo, but it's very diversified, and Montezuma and Sassoon are different from the Vacaville Fire Protection District, which includes most of Pleasance Valley and English Hills, and on up to the Napa County line, and of course the Yolo County line. Bottom line, I think it's all about money. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out. And then I noticed a PG&E representative on this meeting as well. And there are some trees that the PG&E crews have limbed up in the past, and I'm talking large oak trees, that now the limbs are hanging over the roadway. And I don't know if you're aware, but in our area, a lot of the oak trees are dying that were burned through the cambium. And it's taken them, 5 years to die. Well, I've got a couple there that I'd like to reach out to PG&E to have them remove. And that's about all. Oh, the other thing that's happening in Pleasants Valley is now we're having our Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council meetings at the Vacaville Fire Protection District offices, which we had one last year and we had last month. And we had the acting chief, Dave Kuntz, give an update on all the improvements he's made in the district, which are many.
And are those meetings monthly?
We're bi-monthly.
Oh, okay.
We're having them every other month, and we have one coming up in July.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, West Winters. I saw Kira was here and Debbie.
I'm taking the lead today.
Thank you.
We had a meeting about 10 days ago at the Winters Fire Department, and we're working sort of in three areas. These are just really ongoing projects. The first one is we're looking into having prescribed grazing with Tanya's help and other people, and possibly forming a grazing cooperative for vegetation management. And, in the short term, we're looking like trying to protect Golden Bear area, either around the perimeter or locating certain key properties, such as in the north and in the west, larger properties where, the people would participate, the landowners would ask for this, and we could locate those and take care of those areas. Certainly it'd be nice to have everybody in Golden Bear participate that could, but we have to start small, and so we're looking to that. The second thing that we're working on is our Firewise community qualification. So we're still doing property evaluations, and we hope to have those done by September so we can get everything submitted before the end of the year. And the third thing is we're still working on an emergency escape route for Golden Bear residents. We have a proposed escape route, but there's several problems with it, and one of them is PG&E land, which is neighboring our property, and it may be in the process of being sold. We're really not sure. So we don't know if the escape route, if indeed there are new landowners, if the escape route would be allowed over that land. So these are just some of the ongoing projects.
Thank you. Lots going on. I think that's the end of the reports, unless anyone has anything else to add.
Tanya, John Walsh.
John, yes.
How are you?
Good.
Going back to Pleasants Valley, if they want to reach out to me, I can get them in touch with our veg management folks. And if they want to get rid of trees, a lot of times it's mutually beneficial for us also. So I can try to get the right people talking to each other and make that happen.
That sounds good. It sounds like, Leanne, do you want that contact information from John?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, John, you can either put it in the chat or send it to me and I can forward it to Leanne.
Okay. You have my information already, Tanya. You can feel free to share it with her.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. And other than that, I have nothing else to report out from PG&E.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so back to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think that's it. If we don't hear any other anyone else who just wants to go ahead and speak up, the next meeting would be July 23rd on Wednesday, and we'll plan on it unless we really are short. I don't think we'll plan on canceling it. So I'm looking for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion adjourned.
And I'll second that, but I'll say that Leanne has her hand raised.
Oh. Yeah, I had one quick question. Does Yolo County have a hazardous fuels ordinance that applies to main roadways and routes?
That is a question that Christopher may be able to answer. I don't know.
I don't know off the top of my head either. I could take a look into it and then reach out back to you to see a follow up.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good because I don't know that either.
I will add one thing on that. There is for anybody looking for a super quick funding opportunity to implement that. There is the FEMA Assistance for Firefighters grant open at the moment. It closes July 3rd. And it does fund development of new codes and enforcement of that. In case that's of interest to anybody.
That's next week.
And speaking of grants, the CAL FIRE wildfire prevention grants opened up today, and they're due, I think, August 1st. So local fire state councils about that.
August 6th.
August 6th. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan, I think you have a motion and a second.
I still have the motion, but since there's a discussion, I haven't called the question.
All right. So yeah, I think there's a motion. I seconded.
Yep. No. Oh yeah, I don't know if we had the second. I knew we had the motion. So if others are paying attention, we now have a motion and a second to end the meeting. And hearing no other discussion, although I'd like to call the question. So all in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll talk on Wednesday, July 23rd. Thank you.